Mr. Harrison lived alone in a small, worn-out apartment that had seen better days. His life had been a series of challenges. He lost his wife to illness when their children were still young, and he had raised them on his own, working long hours and sacrificing much to give them a better future. Now, his children were grown and had moved far away, each busy with their own families and careers. Though they called occasionally, their visits were rare, leaving Mr. Harrison to spend his days in solitude, reminiscing about the past. Despite his loneliness, there was one small joy that brightened Mr. Harrison's days, a little bird that visited him every morning. The bird would perch on the windowsill, chirping and singing, as if it knew how much the old man needed its company. Mr. Harrison looked forward to these visits. The bird's cheerful song filled the empty apartment with life and brought a smile to his weathered face. He would carefully save crumbs from his breakfast to feed the bird, finding comfort in the simple routine. As winter set in, the weather grew harsh, and the bird's once vibrant song began to falter. Mr. Harrison noticed that his tiny companion seemed weaker, struggling to sing as it once did. Concerned, he began sharing more of his already meager meals with the bird, even though he barely had enough to sustain himself. Each day, he would sit by the window, waiting for the bird's arrival, his heart aching to see it in such a fragile state. He whispered encouraging words to it, as if his kindness could somehow strengthen the little creature. The days grew colder, and so did Mr. Harrison's health. His body, worn down by age and years of hard work, couldn't fight off the cold like it used to. He found himself becoming weaker, unable to leave his bed for long periods. Yet, even in his frailty, he continued to care for the bird, leaving crumbs on the windowsill each morning, hoping that it would regain its strength. The bird, sensing the old man's struggle, sang its sweetest song each day, as if trying to repay the kindness shown to it. One bitterly cold morning, the bird arrived at the window as usual, but Mr. Harrison was too ill to rise from his bed. The bird waited, chirping softly, but the old man didn't come. Realizing something was wrong, the bird flew into the room and landed on the bedside table. It sang a beautiful, heartwarming melody, filling the room with the warmth of its song. Mr. Harrison, weak but comforted by the familiar tune, managed a faint smile as a tear slipped from his eye. He closed his eyes, listening to the bird's final serenade, and drifted peacefully into eternal rest. Moral: true kindness, even in the smallest acts, leaves a profound impact. It creates connections that transcend words, touching the soul and leaving behind a legacy of love and warmth that endures beyond our lifetime.